Hello. In this video, I'm going to show an easy way to create and edit graphics using Microsoft Word. This is going to be an introductory video. As teachers, we often need graphics to explain something, present a problem, or present a solution. I believe all teachers need a way to create graphics and diagrams. In this video, I'll show the basics of creating graphics using Microsoft Word, and then you can expand more on your own. Quick disclaimer, there are many graphic editing software packages available from Simple up through Photoshop. If you have one, I highly recommend you use it and get used to it. I'm making this video today on how to create graphics using Word because it's easy to use and I do believe there's a time and place for it. To do what I'm doing today, you need Microsoft Word and a screen clipping tool. I'm going to demonstrate in Word using the Insert tab how to insert shapes, text boxes, and equations. And our bonus today is how to save the graphic as a file using PowerPoint so you can use the file elsewhere. Maybe on Facebook, Twitter, a website, something like that. I'm going to be screen clipping from a virtual manipulative app provided by McGraw-Hill Education. Before we go to the virtual manipulative, let's take a look at the problem I want to demonstrate. Alright, I'd like to make a handout for my students, and the problem states that Rachel has 1 1/3 cups of flour. She uses 1/4 cup of flour to make some gravy. How much flour does she have left? So I want to make a diagram. So I'm going to use the virtual manipulative site from McGraw-Hill Education, and I have already created this here. It's a nice website where you can create things. Maybe I'll make another video on how to use the virtual manipulatives. But I'm going to use my screen clipping tool to screen clip this. So here's the screen clipping tool. I'm going to hit New Snip. And I'm going to select what I want as my graphic. And now in this snipping tool, there are a few editing features here in the snipping tool, and I encourage you to look at those. But I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to paste it into my Word document. So I'm going to paste it right here. The first thing you need to realize, if you hit the Format tab here for Picture Tools, the wrap text may default to inline with text, and I don't like to use that. I like to use tight. This allows me to move it around and it doesn't obstruct too many other things. So I'm going to put this right here. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to put some explanations here in my diagram. So I'm going to insert a text box. To do that, I go to the Insert tab. I come over here to Text Box, and I'm going to just insert a simple text box. And I'm going to state that I'm going to start with 1 1/3 cups of flour. So in order to get the 1 1/3, and I want to have that look nice, so I'm going to insert an equation. That's under the Insert tab over on the right hand side. 1 1/3. So it's 1, and then here's my fraction tool. 1 1/3. Next thing I want to do is I want to remove this border from around this text box. So I'm going to right click on the text box. I'm going to format shape, and over here on line I'm going to select no line. Alright. Next thing I want to do is I want to explain that we need to get a common denominator. Since I'm subtracting fourths from thirds, the common denominator is twelfths. So maybe I'll put that here in the same text box So now I'm going to explain that I need to convert the 1/3 to 4/12. So I'm going to insert another text box. When I'm making these labels, oftentimes I like to use multiple text boxes so that I can move things around to make my diagrams a little clearer. Now I'd like to put an arrow to indicate that 3/12, which is 1/4, is going to be removed. So I'm going to come here to Insert, and I'm going to want to insert an arrow. If you come to Shapes, there are a whole bunch of shapes here, rectangles, ovals, arrows, and so on. I think I'm going to just use a basic arrow here, and I'm going to have an arrow here, and I want to have this be takeaway. Now the default arrow is very thin and hard to see, so I'm going to right click the arrow and go Format Shape. I'm going to make the line nice and black because I'm going to be photocopying this, and I'm going to increase the width up to about 2.5 points so it's nice and thick. And then I'm going to put a text box down here for takeaway. Okay, now this text box right here, you'll notice, is on top of my arrow. So a very important thing when editing graphics here is the order of the graphics, because they're stacked on one another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my arrow, I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to hit Bring to Front. This is a very important aspect of editing graphics. So that puts that on the top, and this text box is behind it, so I can move this into position. The next important thing I'd like to show you about managing graphics is grouping things up. Right now, each of these objects moves on its own, but I'd like to have these things all grouped up. So what you do is you start selecting an object, then you hold down your Shift key and select all the other objects, including your arrow, including your text boxes. Then you right click and you go to Group. And what this does is it takes all these objects and treats them as a group. So now this whole thing is a movable object. So that's pretty well the end of the introduction, and I'm ready to save this handout here and print it out and get it ready to go. Now for the bonus part, what happens if I want to have this graphic saved as something that I'm going to use elsewhere? I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to jump over to PowerPoint, just a blank PowerPoint page, and I'm going to paste this in here. I've pasted the graphic into PowerPoint, and then we select the graphic, we right click, and we hit Save as Picture. And then this allows you to save it on your hard drive somewhere. So you navigate to your folder, type in your file name, and save. And then that graphic is usable. I'm not quite sure why you can't do the Save as Picture inside Word, but if you paste it over into PowerPoint, it's easy to do that. I hope you found this video useful. Have a great day.